Can I respond? Good evening, everyone. Ashley from European Relocation Services. I thought I'd touch back on a video I did briefly yesterday about the myths of moving to Spain since Brexit. Firstly, as I said in yesterday's video, it is not impossible as a Brit to move to Spain or France, Germany, etc. since Brexit. Yes, you may have seen various sources of media, people's opinions, etc., saying it's extra impossible, it's difficult, it's hard, it's harder, or even impossible. Well, harder may be touching on base closest of those statements. Yes, because there are new rules to deal with. Yes, it's trickier to move to Spain now and more costly, but moving to Spain since Brexit is not impossible. It is doable, yes, as I said a minute ago. Yes, it's more expensive, but if it's your dream to move to Spain, you still can achieve it. Why is it more expensive? Well, the reason it's more expensive is now, since Britain is now a third party country, I think is the term they use, and no longer a member of the EU, customs clearances are required of all goods entering or exiting the EU from a third party non-EU member, in this case Britain. Now, this means, let's just use you moving to Spain for now, you'll need to get customs export clearance from the UK, which obviously our customs brokers don't work free, no one's do, and then customs clearance into Spain. So there's two sets of customs brokers to be paid. There's also a possibility of IVA, which is Spanish VAT. Don't ask me to try and say that in Spanish, because I can't. But the IVA rate that Spain charges on import is 21%. From our experience, it's the good, not the goods, that necessarily qualify. Yes, the goods will help. Yes, you have people go, oh, the goods are over 6 months old, I won't be for resale, they're for the original purpose. That means the goods are IVA and duty free. That's part of it, yes, from our experience. But the biggest part is the person qualifies or doesn't qualify for IVA and or tariff free status. So yes, that's the biggest thing. But don't let that put you off. That it's a little bit more costly. We're not talking thousands and thousands and thousands more, unless your goods are worth 20, 30, 40 pounds. We're talking on average a few extra £100 on top, maybe a thousand in some people's cases. It all depends on what your goods are worth. The IVA and or duties, when charged by Spain, this is, we're talking imported into Spain, so moving to Spain, not from Spain, it would be in reverse, which I will touch on in a few minutes, are based on the value of the goods. But this is not your insurance value. They're not asking for the insurance value. They're not asking for the new replacement value of the goods. The goods value that they want is if you were to sell them goods or buy them goods in their current as-is state, what you'd pay for them. So what you'd pay from likes of eBay, a Facebook Marketplace, or a car boot sale. Let's use second-hand value. I will repeat that, not the new value, not your insurance value. These are two separate entities. So it's perfectly understandable for us to get an insurance value for reference purposes and a goods value different. Do the customers understand this and know why? As I say, IVA is charged on, it can be charged on the goods on import. It might be, it might not be. Out of all the moves we've done this year, a few have qualified for duty-free and IVA free. Some will be charged IVA and duty, some will be charged just IVA. It's very, I wouldn't say hit and miss, because that's not true. What I would say, it's still the person that qualifies, not always the goods. The goods are a factor, yes. We will need more information off you either way, a lot more than ever before. For example, we now need a passport, copy of your passport, and likes of that. We never did that before. We did before pre-Brexit here at European Relocation Services was an inventory. But the inventory needs to be more detailed as well now. In what way? Well, your inventory now needs to include the value of the goods, quantities, well that should have been there anyway, but value of goods, quantities of goods, description, more detailed, sizes. So if you've got 50 boxes of various sizes, you can't just put 50 boxes of various sizes. You should be put, let's say, 10 boxes medium, 10 boxes large, and 30 boxes small. So it's slightly more detailed in that sense, but the value is needed. One thing I will ask, and this is from experience, our customs broker into Spain insists on the inventories being done on spreadsheets. So if you're sending us an inventory, it would be much appreciated if you could do it on a spreadsheet, please. Great, right. But yeah, but yes, it's a little bit more expensive to Spain, but it's not impossible. I know I've said that several times now, but it's not. 1 second. We need more information, which is some a list of which will be sent to anyone when they're booking, make an inquiry, etc. But you could have people go, oh, this customs clearance, it's tricky, it's hard. Don't worry. Here at ERS, Removal Services Limited. I'm now using profile name just for reference. If you're going to talk about a separate company, we're not. We, as a part of our standard moving service to Spain or from Spain, deal with the customs clearance for you as a part of the service. The other thing we don't, as a rule, do if you're going to the UK is your TORS application. That's something we ask you as a customer to do. I'll circle back to TORS and you exporting from Spain to move back to the UK later. But at the minute, we're primarily concentrating on into Spain, okay? Right. Well, so we need more information, check. Yes, but most of the extra paperwork, most of the extra complications for the move related to getting your goods and personal belongings to Spain are done by the mover, not by you. All you've got to do basically is send me a list of information I ask you for, which is no longer, yes, which may take a few more minutes to dig out and scan. So yeah, there's a little bit more work on your part, and a more detailed inventory. Most of the rest of it, custom-wise for the paperwork, we as the mover take care of. Yes, it does cost more, as I say. Our custom charge, which includes our admin service for all the extra work we have to do, the admin, chasing customs brokers, etc., sorting the customs out, etc., is a set price of £300, which will be in your quote. So that's to Spain. So yeah, okay, that's a bit more. Yes, there's a possibility of IB at 21% as mentioned, and or duties. Duties are a tricky one. Now, I'm not going to go into them megally for one reason. The IVA is a standard, 21%. If they charge you IVA, it's 21%. The duties, they could be charging 4% on some items of your goods, 6% on some. These are just rough figures. They use different various duty rates. Okay, it's not a set. Everything's at this. Everything's at that. Now, one thing I will say, because I saw a comment someone put on Facebook yesterday regarding these type of things, is if you're exporting from country A and importing to country B, as it stands, this is from the UK in this case, to Spain, there is no export VAT or tariffs. The export country, in this case UK, does not charge. The only charge you'll get out for the UK is for the administration by the customs brokers, which is, as I said, within that price I've already said about the £300. Only country that charges, if possible, the tariffs and the VATs and taxes, which is a strong possibility, as I said before, it's the person mainly. Yes, the goods are a factor in it, but the person, that's a big part of the qualifying. That charge, this is an outspace, and that's based on at the minute, what we're at, 16 completed loads with, no, 18 completed loads. I've come back to we've just done delivered the other day, 20 with the ongoing loads at the minute, particularly 20 for this year. Anyway, and hundreds of moves before. Anyway, I was like, it's only the country the goods are coming to that charges the taxes, not the goods, not the country the goods are coming from. That's a misconception. I have seen a few people thinking that you charge tax at export and you charge tax at import. You know, in some sectors and some goods, I don't know, but in our experience currently to date, based on household moves, you are not charged tax at export, only possibly at import, and that's so far it's been most of our customers had to pay the VAT at import. Okay, please feel free to pop any questions you got in. And whoever's watching, thank you for watching. And where was I? Yeah, I'm going to briefly cycle back to in reverse to the UK. If you're moving back to the UK, you'll need to do a thing called a TOR, which is a transfer of residency. If approved, you get a year to get your goods that you've listed on the TOR back to the UK VAT free. So far, we've only done 6 moves back to the UK since Brexit. Of them, 2 failed to meet the TOR because they hadn't been out of the UK over a year. 4 passed because they've been outside the UK in another country for more than a year and can prove it. The 4 that passed was VAT into the UK VAT free. The 2 that failed, this is because we're charged UK VAT, but we're charging tariffs in the UK. No actually moved to Spain, as I say. I'm just going to briefly touch on it. We're not going to discuss things like residency here. We're not going to discuss things like how do you stay more than 90 days or all that. That's a question for a guest there. Oh yeah. All we're discussing here is the perspective of getting your goods to Spain. Yes, that's it. That's all we're discussing. Oh, I just found that round full. It's a good cup of tea. Right, where were we? Moving goods to Spain. One thing you must notice that before we could load and before Brexit, a mover, all movers doing this routes could load and go. Now we can't. Now we need the extra information. As I said, things like your passport. We all need our there. Spanish broker also asks for a customer authorization form, which must be signed by each and every customer. This is required by them, by Spanish law, to authorize them to work on your behalf, because as far as Spain is concerned, the owner of the goods, so in this case, they're your belongings, you, is the importer into Spain and the exporter from the UK. That's as far as the Spanish government is concerned, and therefore the customs agent needs a customs authorization form. That, when you get it, will be in Spanish for our agent. It looks complicated, it looks tricky, but believe me, it's not. It's one of the only few pieces of paperwork more info needed. It's a little bit more time-consuming at your end, it's a little bit more costly, but moving to Spain is not impossible. You may have heard stories, oh, mass exodus of Brits. That might be happening in some areas, I don't know. Based on our operation experience of 2021, we're still moving more people to than move back. You may hear stories, oh, massive amounts of Brits speaking. Spain is still a lovely country to live in. Spain is still welcoming. Spain is still, if it's your dream to move to Spain, it's still achievable. Okay? Move to Spain is not impossible, as I said. I think that actually covers more or less everything I wanted to discuss on the moving to Spain, RE customs. That is not impossible, it's a little bit more work involved on your part, but still achievable. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now and have a great day.